Recovery is stupendous.
Achievable.
Hope.
Freedom.
Empowering. It's unique to everyone.
The journey, not a destination.
Getting a new lease on life.
Finding restoration after you fall down.
Recovery is having the freedom to enjoy life.
For me, it was finding a way to really love myself.
My recovery is possible in part because of my own sense of purpose.
Welcome to Montana's Peer Network. I'm Jim Haney, Executive Director. Welcome once again to our monthly podcast. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm hosting this week solo, so you just get myself. This month, Mental Health Awareness Month, May, National Mental Health Awareness Month, always keeps us busy. Always keeps us moving around the state, lots of presentations. We get lots of requests to come out and talk to folks and share the message of recovery. And this month was no exception, hasn't been any exception. We're still kind of in the middle of it. Let's see, I've been out to Miles City, I've been to Billings, Great Falls, Helena, and then going up to Browning next week. So yeah, put some miles on the car this month, but it's been good. A lot of good turnout. A lot of people interested in peer support. You know, right now peer support is got folks' attention, and they want to know more, and they want to know how to start programs, and it's really cool. I mean, it's really cool because people are asking the right questions, and there's lots of funding available for peer support right now. And so, it's like a really good time. I mean, it feels good because for years, I would go places and I would bring up peer support and people would go, huh, what's that? You know, and now folks are asking me and they're saying, hey, how do we do this? We want to start a new program, or, hey, we heard, you have training, or can we have you come out and help us structure a new program? So been all around the state, and it's really cool. It's cool to get around. Those of you who tune in on social media have seen I have done some of the 5 good minutes from some different places, and so it's been great. And I'll try to do another one here in the coming weeks in my travels. So on this podcast here, one of the things for Mental Health Awareness Month, we're going to be interviewing Dee VP from the Board of Directors. She's also a peer supporter. She's the vice president of the board. She also leads the fundraising committee. She also, as a peer supporter, runs a support group in Butte. That runs Tuesdays at 1 o'clock. And so in a few minutes here, we're going to have Dee come on, and we're really going to jump in, and we're going to talk about Dee's experience and just have a really good dialogue with her. So coming up in the future from Montana's Peer Network here in July is our next Peer Support 101 training, July 16th through the 20th. And I can tell you, I was just looking at registration, and we're about half full already for Bozeman in July. So if you're listening and you're thinking about, hey, should I take that Peer Support 101, or, I would say get your application in as quickly as you can, because it is filling up. Browning is filled to the max, and so Bozeman is your next opportunity. The other thing I want to talk about is, and I mentioned this earlier, the 5 good minutes, and I did one from Great Falls. I was out on the banks of the Missouri River, and I put forth this challenge, but I realized some of you might not watch the 5 good minutes. You might just tune in to the podcast. And so the challenge is this: for Mental Health Awareness Month, the greatest thing that any of us can do is have that conversation with somebody, that conversation about mental health, about our recovery. It's difficult, it's challenging, It can be hard to get that conversation going, but I think for myself, when I dialogue about it, when I share my story, I go do these presentations, I tell people a little bit about my own experience. Other folks open up also. You give them permission to dialogue back and know that it's safe and that they can talk without judgment. And so I put forth this challenge on the 5 Good Minutes, and I'm going to reiterate it here. For the month of May, I challenge you, the listener, you, put down your phone. This is important, okay? I challenge you this month to go have that conversation with one person. With one person. At MPN, we have more than 900 members. Think about this. If all 900 members went and had a conversation with one person about mental health this month, how could we change the world? What might happen? Right? What kind of new ideas might be born? How might people think about themselves and about those around them? And so that's your challenge for the month. Go out and find somebody and talk to them about mental health and share your experience. And ask them and listen to what they have to say. And you might be surprised. They might come back and say they too have a diagnosis, or they too are in recovery. Or I've had this happen. People say to me, wow, I didn't know. I didn't know you had a diagnosis, right? And so I think when we do that, we raise awareness, we reduce stigma, and we also heal a little bit ourselves. So encourage you to do that. All right, as a listener of the podcast, we always like to do a recovery tech tool of the month. So we found this really cool one. It's an app, and it's called Optimism. Sounds cool already, doesn't it? So Optimism helps you track and manage your mental health. Sounds good. It is only available for Apple at the moment. It is not available for Android. It is free. Okay, it's pretty simple to use. It tracks core data. It has stay well strategies. It records your data and potential methods for staying healthy, such as exercise, spending time outside, support. You also can enter in triggers and symptoms. Okay, there's customizable tabs, and I'm actually looking at a screenshot right now. And it has like a slider on it, and you rank your well-being. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how you coped, what your sleep quality was, how many hours you got, right? Exercise, relaxation and meditation, healthy meals. Did you eat healthy meals, or did you go, for the Big Mac? Did you drink enough water? And, did you minimize your caffeine? Okay, so you enter these in, it asks you these questions, you do it on a slider, okay, and you put it in there. It does not record any of your personal data. So you don't put your name in, you don't put your birth date, your social security number, anything like that. So it's pretty safe, and it's designed for people to help manage depression, bipolar, and other conditions. But really anybody could use it just to track your mental health. Again, available only for Apple. It's called the Optimism app. Looks really, really cool. I don't have it on my phone because I have an Android. But this looks like something that might be really useful. So go check it out, Optimism. All right. Now, we're going to transition here, and I'm going to introduce my guest, Dee Romine from the board of directors. She's a peer supporter. She's a mom. She runs a support group. She's a friend of mine. Just an all-around really wonderful person. And so, Dee, I'd like to welcome you to the show.
Hello there.
How you doing today?
I'm doing good.
Excellent.
Yeah, I'm grateful to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, thanks for taking the time to come on and chat with us, and yeah, really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Good. So let's kind of jump. Let's jump in because we're kind of talking beforehand, like, okay, where do we want to go in? But how about we start with, so you're on the board, you're a peer supporter, you're in recovery, a lot of stuff going on here. So, right? and,
Yeah.
and so, how did you get involved? Let's maybe start there. I mean, how did you get involved with Montana's Peer Network? Let's just jump in there.
I was working at the crisis house here in Butte and was offered to take the 40-hour training for Peer Support 101. And that was my first exposure to Montana's Peer Network. But I had also had a peer supporter speak to me years before when I was in crisis at the state hospital.
Okay.
And she inspired me to reach out and rediscover what recovery was to me, and that led me to a job at the crisis house years later after working on myself for a while, and that was when I became a member of Montana's Peer Network and started learning more about where I wanted to head with my recovery.
Excellent. And you said something there about when you were talking about, transitioning to the job. First, you worked on yourself, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you didn't jump right from crisis into I'm working, right? So can you talk about that? Talk about that.
Yeah, I was at the state hospital, and it was my second crisis that I'd had. I had gone manic. I'm bipolar 1, and she came to me, a peer supporter came to me to talk to me before I left because I was pretty hopeless.
Mm-hmm.
And she shared her story, and this goes right back to what you were talking about before, how empowering just somebody's story can be for not only yourself, but for someone else.
Yeah.
And she led me to seek out what recovery is to me. And I didn't have any peer supporters around me at that time. So how I went about that was I went to the library, and I got every book on bipolar and recovery related material that I could find.
Mm-hmm.
And it led me to a point where I was strong in my recovery, and I started a volunteer program at the day hall here in Butte.
Mm-hmm.
That clients would work in the kitchen. And it still runs today. And I also had a support group there for 3 years before I moved on to do the affiliate for Montana's Peer Network.
Mm.
And that's how my base of my recovery started, is that I was not only focused on myself, but I was leading others to reach better recovery.
That's great. And I know for myself that helps me, when I'm helping other people, when I'm trying to, support other people in their own recovery, I really, I get a lot out of it. I walk away from it, and when I reflect on it, I think, wow, that really gave me some strength or some new insight. Do you experience that?
Yeah, I think you get more strength every time you help somebody, and also you learn something new, not only about yourself, but that you're not alone, and that's empowering.
Right. And is that that message of not being alone? Do you find that's because you run the group on Tuesdays there in Butte, 1:00 at the library, right? You want to put a plug in for that. Do you find that right? I mean, that's kind of a theme with support, right? Is that when you go to a group, you find other people and you go, oh wow, I'm not the only one.
Right, and everybody's really open at my group, and they're very comfortable, and they share very well, and so they it's not so much me that's supporting them, but they're supporting each other. And
right.
That's what is so amazing about a support group, and what I've learned from this experience with this support group. That there's each one of them, I ask them to share a little bit about their story at the beginning of the meeting, and they help each other.
Nice. That's great. So then how did you so talk us through the next part of that. So then you're working as a peer supporter. You took the training, the Peer Support 101, and then how did you become the vice president of Montana's Peer Network?
Okay, I worked for a few years at the crisis house, and I wasn't receiving clinical supervision. And even though I asked for it quite a few times, it just wasn't provided to me steadily. And I ended up getting some symptoms that frightened me a little bit. So I decided that it wasn't a good place for me to be.
Okay.
And I reached out to you, Jim, and told you that, being a peer supporter is really important to me. And I felt bad that I wasn't going to be able to do that anymore. And in a few weeks or so, you had Jen, the secretary at the time, reach out to me. And that's how I became a board member. I filled out my application, and I applied, and I did my homework, and was able to be on the board now for 2 years. And it's been a great experience. It's really amazing how much Peer Network has grown in that time frame for me, and to see all the activity that's going on around peer support trainings and peer support period is just a really amazing experience.
Well,
and having the connection with other peers, like Brent Morris, who is just one of my best friends, I would say. He's our board president. Just having that extra support in your life is a great experience.
Yeah, well, and we have experienced a lot of growth in those 2 years, and you've been a big part of that. I think I mentioned this in the beginning. Dee she leads the fundraising committee, and she is the cheerleader and the champion of fundraising at Montana's Peer Network. And do you want to talk about that? And because you're so damn good at it.
Yeah, fundraising is something that I think is really important for a nonprofit. And it was something that we really needed, and it didn't quite come together that first year, but we've got a great plan this year, and we've got some great things that are going to be coming out for people to join in and fundraise with us and have some fun and network with other peers. And I just think that this fundraising committee has been amazing. I've got to give them kudos on that, because, I can't do it alone.
Right. Right.
They all have to work together. And our donation boxes are out in Great Falls, Glendive, Butte, and
Livingston.
Is that it?
Livingston. Yep.
And that's it, I think. And they're all bringing in money, and that was something that I really tried to do last year, and it didn't get there, but this year it's booming, and we'll be bringing in donation boxes, and that's a really simple way, I think, to raise money for Montana's Peer Network.
Mm-hmm.
And also the other fundraising ideas that I'm not going to give away, but they'll be coming out soon here, and everybody will have a lot of fun with them, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, yeah, when to our listeners, when you're out in the community and you're purchasing stuff, look around the counter, because we're putting out more and more of these donation boxes, and this allows us to do more with the organization, right? It allows us to come to your community and put on presentations and start affiliates in your community. This is how we do it, and so. Yeah, I think it's great. And if you're listening and you're wondering about donating, you can always go to our website or our Facebook page, and there's donate buttons on there. You can click, and you can donate. We always appreciate that. Dee is just she's been the champion. She took it on, and she's doing it. So it's great. Thank you, Dee, for that.
Yeah, you're welcome. I enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, the other thing I think we have a few minutes left here, and the other thing I want to touch on is the recovery coaching program, and Dee and Michelle and Patty. They're people who are really involved. As you're hearing about Dee, people are really involved in the Butte community, and they came to me a couple years ago and said, "We'd like you to bring the recovery coaching program you have in Bozeman over." And so to Butte, to our community, and now it's up and running. And Dee is really was the spearhead of that. And so we have a couple of minutes left, Dee, and if you could just talk about that and what that's like to know now we have recovery coaches in the community, and really because of you and others.
Yes, I'm a member of the Mental Health Butte-Thornbow LAC, Local Advisory Council, and I've been on the board. It'll be I think it is 4 years right now, but we use the legislature for priority was a peer network program of some kind, and Michelle Lewis and I were lead on getting the recovery coach program brought into Butte. It was a long road. It took us about 2 years to get it going in our community, but now Nick Martin is getting referrals and doing really well, and Ashley is what is Ashley's last name?
Ashley McLean. Ashley McLean just came on board with us. Yep.
Right, and she is also working in the community, and I've made referrals for her too. And just having that extra support in this community, especially since we have so many people from the state hospital that end up in Butte, I think it's a great program to have here, and it's going to be very successful. I just have that feeling.
Yeah. So anybody in the Butte community that needs support can give us a call, and we can get you hooked up with a peer supporter. There's no cost for this. The program is funded by the Montana Mental Health Trust. We want to say thank you to them for believing in us and giving us the funding and supporting this program, and it's great. And we have a couple peer supporters, Nick and Ashley, who are available. And these are the kinds of things when you get involved with our organization. We've covered a lot of ground here with Dee, and you've heard all these different things that she's involved in. And you as the listener, you can do that too in your community. And that's why we really wanted to bring Dee on, because I think when we talk about mental health awareness, this isn't about statistics. This is about real people making real change, actually doing things. And I think that's really the theme. And I think, Dee, you're a shining example of that. And yeah, I mean, thank you for all of that, all of this, all your efforts.
Yeah, I've done quite a few things. I've spoken in front of the legislature. I've spoken in front of the county commissioner and chief executive. I did the Stomp Out the Stigma for 2 years, the Stomp Out the Stigma Walk for 2 years here in Butte. And that was my first thing that I did, and they're all important. They all had a voice, and they all have made a big impact in my community, because I made everybody look at us and be aware that we're here and we have a voice and we have something good to say. Yeah.
And it's so important. And there has to be a champion. You heard me, I said that earlier, Dee, I called you a champion, and to our listeners, each community needs its own champion. And for us, it's Dee. And so with that, we're gonna wrap up. Dee, I want to thank you for coming on. I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your story. And we will definitely have you on again.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Thank you for having me.
Sorry, go ahead.
I said thank you for having me.
Of course. Okay, so this is going to wrap up another episode of our podcast. Please tune in, check out our webinars, check out social media, and all the other exciting things that we're doing. Our videos, 5 Good Minutes on Facebook. If you want to see what's going on, visit our website, www.mtpeernetwork.org. Thank you so much.
Recovery works and recovery is possible.
Recovery works and recovery is possible.
Recovery works, recovery is possible.
Recovery is possible.
Recovery works and recovery is possible.
Recovery works and recovery is possible.
Recovery works and recovery is possible.
Recovery is possible.